Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to McAdie's Entertainment. I'm your host as always, Adam McAdie. We are finally back with another bloody installment from the pages of Marvel Zombies. In our last video of this series, we went through Chapter 2 of this gruesome tale. I will leave that video in the title card and the description below. In today's episode, we'll finally be covering the full gory story of the long-awaited Chapter 3, which timeline-wise takes place after Marvel Zombies 1 and before Marvel Zombies 2. It certainly is a wild flesh-munching tale through the multiverse, so without further ado, grab a plate of boneless wings, sit back, relax, and enjoy Chapter 3 of Marvel Zombies. The story opens up in the murky, desolate swamps of Florida on the main Marvel dimension, Earth 616. It is here that we see the C-list superhero team called the Command responding to a distress signal near Orange County. This rather colorful Suicide Squad-esque team consisted of the heroes such as the half-man, half-machine Siege, the Atlantean sorceress Jennifer Kale, the immortal 16th century warrior the Conquistador, and the alien space hippie called Aquarian. Tracking vital signs to a nearby cabin, the group came across a band of badly wounded, seemingly decomposed Florida residents. Seeing that there was a survivor, Siege went to help the woman, only to discover that this Florida woman indeed lived up to the title of being a Florida woman and was actually a zombie who took a huge chunk out of the dude's face. Seriously, Florida and Ohio are like the Silent Hill and Raccoon City of the US. Stay away from both locations at all times, folks. This all ended up being a huge ambush for the horrified heroes, as we see the likes of Conquistador get ripped apart by the swarms of zombies and Siege dragged into the murky waters by the merciless undead. As the remaining team members battle the zombies, we see their team leader hiding in the shadows waiting to strike. This ended up being a zombified, but still very talkative undead Deadpool, who jumped into the fray to help his hungry homies. The quick-moving mercenary then made his way to the powerful Aquarian, where he infected him with the virus. Using his power to stave off the infection from fully taking over, Aquarian blasted off one of Deadpool's arms to loosen his grip, and then worked in tandem with Jennifer Kale to launch the dude into a nearby swamp skiff, where they turned on the fan and blended Deadpool into a nice crimson protein smoothie. With the infection's power growing stronger, Aquarian went to comfort his comrade Jennifer, who was fully drenched in Deadpool guts. Crying in pain as he tried to keep his transformation at bay, Aquarian knew that the only way to protect his friends was to enter a mystic hibernation pod in an attempt to expel it. Just as Jennifer thought the nightmare was over, our poor girl was quickly proven wrong as the freshly zombified hand of Siege emerged from the swamp, grabbed her, and attempted to turn her into a tasty sorceress snack. Getting her ankle broken by the zombie's cybernetic strength, the woman crawled to a nearby shack with the zombie Terminator torso in hot pursuit. Before the dude could get in a bite, his cyborg side kicked in and realized his biological side had been compromised and hence decided to neutralize it. Without his control, Siege's AI took over, grabbed his pistol, and exploded his head all over the horrified Jennifer Kale as she sobbed hysterically over what just happened this night. Honestly, no amount of showers or therapy will ever help this poor woman recover from this. Later on, this night from absolute hell was investigated by the alternate reality monitoring agency called Armor, who was basically like S.H.I.E.L.D., except they protected other dimensions from each other. If you're a Morbius fan, well, you're in luck, because during this time, our beloved vampire was the head scientist for Armor, where he and the other doctors studied the virus's effects. Seeing how dangerous this was, Morbius concluded that they needed to send a team to the Marvel Zombies dimension Earth 2149 to get a blood sample from a living human there. With this blood, he would be able to create a vaccine for Earth 616 heroes to prevent this world from suffering a similar fate. Instead of sending puny meatbag human heroes to get the job done, Armor played it safe, as they did not want to risk any of these Avengers from becoming infected. Therefore, they recruited the cool coat-wearing android Aaron Stack, aka Machine Man, due to his inability to become infected. After getting the full breakdown of the mission and what he was up against, the hero justifiably said the heck with this, and was not about to stick out his neck for these humans, who honestly could care less about him and android kind. He, and I'm sure most of our minds, were quickly changed though when he found out that his escort for this mission was his ex-android girlfriend, Jocasta Pym. Suddenly going to a zombie, superhero-ridden hellscape suddenly doesn't sound all that bad, does it, boys? Working with Armor director Little Sky, the hero used his portal opening abilities to access the zombieverse, where he acted as the driver to bring the androids to their hellish destination. While the mission seemed like a good enough plan, we soon see that things were much more sinister than we thought, where we see Dr. Morbius retreating to his room late that night. Upon entering the room, we are greeted to a rather shocking sight, which is yet another Morbius, bloodied and tied to a chair. It is revealed that this is in fact the real Morbius, and the one who assigned this whole mission was actually his zombie variant from the zombieverse. While we could debate on how a vampire could become a zombie all day, we simply don't have time for that. The only thing that we have time for is Morbin time. We then cut to our heroes, who finally made the trip to Earth 2149. Literally less than 5 minutes into this godforsaken world, the duo was immediately attacked by a group of flying zombie heroes and villains who were delighted to see some fresh grub after so long. Biting and tearing into the pair, the zombies were quickly disappointed to discover that they were robots, with Zombie Falcon miscalling Jocasta a mannequin. Totally not cool with these grubby, slimy dead men touching her, Jocasta activated her inner Homelander and used her laser eyes to promptly fry these dudes to a crisp. Joining in on the fun, Machine Man then used his buzzsaw to slice into the zombies, proclaiming he was quite excited to kill as many fleshies as he wanted. After saving his babe from the gang, Machine Man noticed that Zombie Vulture was trying to get away. He then activated his sick, heat-seeking missile launcher to toast the dude before he could warn the others. After repairing Jocasta's injured leg, the pair sensed a large human presence inside a nearby mansion. This mansion actually ended up being owned by a zombified Kingpin who had taken control over the remaining undead once the super zombie heroes left the planet after the events of Marvel Zombies 1. Sneaking their way inside the building, the androids then see a portal open up where we see a zombie Black Bolt and fellow members of the Inhumans arrive. They are greeted by Kingpin and Zombie Jackal for a self-proclaimed dinner party. Here is where we see how Fisk was able to secure this level of power that he did. Working with Jackal, the pair had managed to create a full-on human cloning program, thus making an unlimited food source for anyone willing to work for this new cannibal crime syndicate. Witnessing the brutality of these monsters as they tore these human clones apart, Machine Man and Jocasta soon came across Kingpin's uninfected wife Vanessa. The woman reveals Fisk's literal undying love for her as he managed to keep her safe, where he had his men bring her things like cat food to eat while they feasted on clones. Honestly, not too horrible. I'm sure her protein intake is absolutely crazy from all that cat food. Jocasta then revealed her mission to the woman, where she allowed them to take a sample of her blood so Armor could create the vaccine and save their world. As the two then went to make their way out of the mansion, Aaron caught a glimpse of the clones being torn apart by undead, which triggered some PTSD from his past, where he saw they were being treated just like his robot brothers on his world. Totally not letting this slide, Machine Man told Jocasta to report back to Armor, and get the sample to safety. He then activated his awesome-looking armed cannons as he leapt down onto the demonic dinner feast as he blasted the hordes below. As the carnage went on inside the zombieverse, we cut back to Earth 616 as we discover that our boy zombie Morbius was an inside agent this whole time, and this whole vaccine mission was a giant ploy to mass manufacture the virus itself so the zombies could turn Earth 616 into another undead dimension. With Jocasta waiting for export and Machine Man going full Robo John Wick, the two were completely unaware of the Grand Master plan. That is until Machine Man hit the zombies so hard that he fell through the floor of the mansion and stumbled across the remains of a zombie Doctor Strange meditating in a secret room. The hero witnessed the half-brain-dead magician projecting a window into another world, which just so happened to be the main Marvel dimension, Earth 616. It is here that Kingpin revealed himself, and in classic villain fashion, gave an extensive monologue of his plan to use Morbius to spread the gospel of the hunger virus to other realities. Thanking the big man for giving away his whole dastardly scheme, Machine Man went to blast the cannibal crime boss, only to be attacked by a zombified Medusa. Aaron then promptly blew her and her mutant weave to pieces, where he made his way outside and was met by a zombie Ghost Rider. Seeing this as a great chance to flex his real-life GTA carjacking skills, Machine Man used his hand blade to slice Ghost Rider's head off, stole his sweet bike, and rode it through the cloning lab, which blew it up, permanently ending Kingpin's food buffet. This may be one of the most underrated cool moments in all of Marvel history. Come on, give this guy a movie already! Infuriated, a rather smoky Wilson Fisk then ordered the undead speedsters at his disposal to chase after the droid so he could get revenge on what he had done. This then resulted in a full-on high-speed chase throughout the city, which eventually came to a fiery end after one of the zombies got caught up in the wheels of the motorcycle, where he of course got turned into a bloody tomato paste, which then resulted in a giant explosion that hurled Machine Man into the subway below, leaving his robotic body battered and torn. Back on Earth 616, one of the armor accountants was doing some research into Morbius's research and discovered that the numbers did not quite add up. As she went into his bunker to confront the guy about it, she then discovered the battered body of the real Morbius, who warned her of the danger behind her. The poor woman was then met by zombie Morbius, who was rather delighted he no longer had to hide who he truly was. The man then unleashed Jared Leto's darkest thoughts and lunged at the agent, where he bit into her, tore her arm off, infecting her with the virus. She then made her way out of the room, where one of her comrades asked her what happened. Within seconds she turned and infected the man, causing the virus to spread like wildfire throughout all of Armor Industries. Coming back to Earth 2149, Jocasta was met by Director Little Sky so they could get the sample back. Believing Aaron to be dead, Jocasta said her goodbyes, for they did not have much time. Arriving to Earth 616, Jocasta made her way to Morbius's lab, where she finally discovered what was going on as she witnessed the man tearing into the corpses of the fallen armor agents. Calling out to Director Little Sky, who also was dealing with an infected horde of his own, Jocasta fled as she was chased by Morbius and his growing undead militia. Things would not be faring much better in the zombieverse, as we see the fallen Machine Man greeted by the shambling corpses of some zombie superheroes who were not too pleased at the guy for messing with their food supply. Going to torture the bot's remains for his actions, this is actually revealed to be a hologram set up by a still very active Aaron, who is delighted that these undead fell right into his trap. He then activated his flamethrower, roasting the vermin as they screamed out in immense pain, even using Scorpion's tail to whack his head off, like a roasted zombie golf ball. Hearing the rushing feet of the remaining zombie speedsters, Machine Man rigged the end of the subway tunnel with razor-sharp wires shot from his fingertips. Completely oblivious to this Looney Tunes-style death trap, the boys ran right through it, eviscerating their body to pieces. Out of nowhere, our boy was attacked by the Inhumans' teleporting dog Lockjaw, who was out for a fleshy squeak toy. Using his stretchy, mechanical arm as a dog leash, Aaron was able to tame the pup, where he tore off a piece of his coat and had him smell it so he could get a lock on Earth 616, where Machine Man was from. As Jocasta continued her assault on the undead to protect the multiverse teleporters, they then hear a portal open up behind them, where we see our boy Machine Man and his new puppy pal, where he proclaimed that he was here to kill zombies and chew gum, and due to him being a robot, he hated gum. He then blasted the zombies to pieces, where he took one of their brains, attached a bomb to it, and threw it to play fetch with Lockjaw, of course for him to catch it and be blasted to smithereens. Just when Aaron thought he had secured the win, he was viciously struck from behind by zombie Morbius, who was not about to let an android get in the way of his cannibal plans. It is here that Morby possibly gives one of the worst and simultaneously best lines in comic history, where he proclaims that he was a vampire and a zombie, thus making him a Vambi, and that he could not be stopped. God, it's a shame that such Oscar-worthy dialogue is tucked away in this hidden gem of a comic. Before he could kill Machine Man, zombie Morbius was stabbed through the chest with a tree by the real Morbius, who had escaped his captivity. Laughing at his twin's actions, the undead vampire claimed that such monster movie tactics would not work on him, only for it to absolutely work on him as we see the man crumble to dust in mere seconds. Slaying the last zombie, which was good old Captain Mexica, Machine Man proudly boasted on just how he saved the world, where he was greeted by Jocasta, where the two embraced and shared a blood-covered robot kiss. Looking on through Doctor Strange's mystic window, zombie Black Bolt asked Wilson Fisk on what they would do now that all of their food was gone, only to see that the guy had killed and eaten Vanessa, where he told him that he eats when he gets upset. While things would seem resolved, the epilogue would reveal that things were not quite over, as the armored director showed our heroes that during this battle, someone or something had managed to use one of the teleporters and had managed to escape the facility. Taking full responsibility for all of this getting out of control, the real Morbius offered to lead the team of the Midnight Suns to investigate this remaining undead threat and save this Earth from the zombie virus once and for all. And that is the full story of Marvel Zombies Chapter 3. For so long, I had put off this story because it did not focus on the main characters from the original Marvel Zombies, but once I literally sat down and read this, I'm so glad I did, because this was truly an incredible tale. It introduced me to awesome characters like Machine Man and Jocasta, and I honestly cannot wait for them to get an MCU debut because of their dynamic in this. The zombie virus was so close to destroying Earth 616, and if it was not for them, the main Marvel dimension would cease to exist as we know. For any of you who have not read this comic, I would absolutely look into getting a copy, whether physically or online, to support the writers and artists' imagination and time that went into this. Marvel Zombies is one of my favorite Marvel comics, and I cannot wait for the upcoming show on Disney+, even though it most likely cannot live up to the legacy that these books created. More than anything, I would love to know what you think. Have you read Marvel Zombies 3? Is there something I missed? What other stories should we cover? Sound off in the comments. Also be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed today's content, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon to be notified of all of our latest videos. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the music in this video, the intro and outro were made by my boy Ognihs. You can check out his Spotify in the link below. You can also check out our Discord, also in the link below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are awesome and loved. God bless, and I will see you in the next one.